Well, hello, boys and girls. Long time no see. Welcome to When I Feel Like It O'Clock at beer o'clock in the morning. Um, I'm at my life coach's house today, and she's not available as she's preparing my warm Nutella tub and hot tub that I partake of while I'm here, while I meditate on my future videos and ways to regale you with pearls of wisdom. Um, NHL style. Anyways, yeah. Th- Something I have to mention is that as the playoffs are going here, be watching out when the summer starts. It's kind of my favorite time of hockey, which is kind of weird. But I start doing a series of every team and what they should do in the off season, and my projections and predictions of what's going to happen in next season and what they're going to do for next season. So it's going to be exciting. I know you're on the edge of your seat. I know you are. Anyways, I'm going to continue on with question and answer period. Last time we had a few wonderful questions, such as, is it more affordable, or is there a better deal buying Nutella by the vat or by the jar? It was a very odd question. I don't know why anybody would buy Nutella by the jar. I do notice that there is Nutella by the jar. I noticed that when I was in Costco after I got this question. I have no idea why anybody would buy it that way, but it was a great question, and I hope you enjoyed the answer. Go to my previous video if you wish to see that the answer to that question and many other questions that there were at that time, such as I believe there was a goaltender question as to why there isn't goaltenders coming in the league at 18, 19 years old. Um, I'm sure you will be. I'm sure you will be enlightened. I'm sure you will. So I'm going to continue on with question and answer since I had such a fine response from it, and I'm going to go to a question from Terry Cartwright from Lincoln, Nebraska, who asked, "What should the St. Louis Blues do in the off season?" Funny that she would ask this since the St. Louis Blues at the moment of this video are still in the playoffs and playing Nashville. So if you are a St. Louis Blues fan, you're probably not all that confident that they're going to make it to the next round, and neither was I. I picked Nashville to win that series, but a great question nonetheless. What they have to do is something that they've needed to do for a long time, uh, and that is Armstrong has been really trying to keep the St. Louis Blues always competitive. And I can understand that. You're not in the hugest market. But it's got to the point where you can't be dilly-dallying anymore. Your window's not closing, but it's not really open because you don't have a number one center. And your team, the St. Louis Blues, you can win without a number one center, but not the way they're built. Um, like for instance, somebody like Nashville, they did go get Johansson, and I guess you could call him a number one center. I didn't really like the trade for Seth Jones, but it wasn't horrible. And but they were a team that weren't going to win with. They could have won without a number one center, I should say, because they have the best top four defense in the league. St. Louis doesn't have that. Doesn't have that distinction, especially after trading Shattenkirk. So one thing they do have is their strength is depth at forward. So if your strength is going to be depth at forward, that's fine, and you have a fairly decent defense, but you're going to need a number one center if that's the case. Basically because your depth at center takes a hit when you don't have a number one center to beat the other team's number one line, because it's it makes it too easy for them to match up lines with you, and that's really what's happening with St. Louis. Anyway, against Nashville, they're eating them up by matching lines, and St. Louis doesn't really have much of an answer to it. When I say you need a number one center, I'm trying. I like Duchesne would be okay out of Colorado. Try to look at teams that are heading downward and need to sell off assets now, like the LA Kings. Although I don't think like maybe Carter. You play Carter at center. That's a possibility. And to do that, I would be trading Barbashev. I'd be trading Tage Thompson, Dunn, Schmaltz. I know Armstrong, it's hard for you to give up these kind of prospects. Your first round draft pick this year, the one you got from the Shattenkirk deal. It's time you got to get one. This is the year that St. Louis has got to go out and get a number one. For sure. Tarasenko needs somebody to pass him the puck, and it's got to be it. That's what I would do this year. I would go all in for a number one center. Besides that, I think you're pretty good. You can add some depth to your defense, but with Parayko and Peter Angelo, Bouwmeester still can play. He's getting up there though, so you're going to probably have to add some depth on defense through free agency or what have you. But without a doubt, the number one thing that St. Louis has to do is get a number one center this year. Let's go to Boris Schuster from what do I think about what has been happening with the Oilers as far as these goaltender interferences are concerned. Well, I can understand the fans being upset, without a doubt. I'm an Oilers fan, and for sure that was goaltender interference. There's no doubt about that. But what I am concerned about is that you got a guy like Lucic who is sitting there getting all frustrated because the referee didn't do this or the referee didn't do that. Now, if I'm a coach in that team, I'm going to sit him down and say, shut the hell up. The fact of the matter is they had a 3-goal lead with 3 minutes to go, and they played like wimps. They played like they were scared. Trying to think of there's a thing in poker that they say that you are. I can't remember. I'll shut up. But they played too much back on their heels. They were sitting back on their heels with their sticks, and that's not the way to play in the final 3 minutes of a game. They had to keep on playing their game, and they didn't. And when you don't, things happen. And that was a thing that happened. And a guy like Lucci should not be sitting there whining and complaining to the media in front of people like that about what happened. I don't think it was a good leadership move at all. I could have seen it from some kid that they have on the team or whatever, but a guy like Lucic, who they brought in for leadership, should have been saying, you know what, I don't care about that. We need to play better in the last minutes of a game, and we're going to practice that, and we're going to go out and kick their ass next time. That's what should have happened there. As far as it goes with the league, with the they got to do something with making giving referees the ability to look at everything when they're checking out the camera angles and stuff like that, and giving them the authority to make judgment calls. They got to open up the rules a little bit and give that back to them. And the good part about that, it would bring the refs back into the game again. It seems to me that there's a lot of rules that are made that makes it so the ref can't use their own judgment. And I think that's the biggest issue with the replays. My final question is from Corey Larnsack, something like that, from Places Unknown. He doesn't want to tell me. Why do you keep on making these fucking videos when nobody's watching the stupid things? Well, because I have a whole bunch of time on my hands, like obviously you do, that can write in something like that about a person who just likes to make videos. That's pretty much it. I spend way too much time thinking and doing hockey, and these videos give me a smidgen of ability to justify being this old and spending that much time on something this irrelevant. So, yeah, I find it funny though that you would write in about why somebody who spends so much time on something irrelevant and take the time to put somebody down for doing so. That's pretty funny. Anyways, everyone have a great day. It's approaching past beer o'clock in the morning to rum o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm going to go take partake in such a thing. Have a great day. Lots of love to you. Oh, my NHL Pearls of Wisdom. Check them out, and make sure you are well lubed. Timmy's Body Lube. It's the best. There, I said it.